Review of The Rookie Season 8 Episode 6, Burn for Love, establishes a significant reset. Burn for Love, the sixth episode of The Rookie Season 8, demonstrates that a Valentine's Day episode doesn't have to be unduly sentimental or dull. There isn't much gunfire, which is unusual for the Alexi Hawley-led Nathan Fillion series. Rather, the episode relies on actual fire and curses, both literal and otherwise. Additionally, Burn for Love strikes a pleasing balance by keeping the drama rooted in character, whereas The Rookie occasionally veers off course for its romantic or humorous excursions. Although there wasn't much of a gap before the premiere of The Rookie, one is probably going to occur before Episode 7. The explanation is straightforward: following a huge explosion, the Mid-Wilshire station, which serves as the show's focal point, is virtually destroyed at the end of the episode. Miles Penn and Selena Juarez first encounter a mystic who curses a disrespectful client with the potential to die, setting off the turmoil. The customer is discovered dead following a series of increasingly serious incidents, and Penn starts to believe the curse has also attached itself to him. This fear nearly turns out to be warranted. While other characters deal with their own curses, both supernatural and emotional, Tim Bradford and Lucy Chen worry that their Valentine's Day preparations are likewise doomed. Without losing sight of its procedural engine, the episode mainly relies on interpersonal interactions, where The Rookie routinely outperforms many of its contemporaries. The Rookie made its cops feel heroic by discovering a gunfire-free way to spectacle. There are two significant similarities to Wildfire in Season 7. The most evident is the large fire in the police station in The Rookie episode. An arsonist who was both innocent and guilty was implicated in a string of fires with romantic themes. Played more for laughs than thrills, the couple starting the fires is arguably the most spectacular fake-out in previous seasons of The Rookie. It is the ultimate schmuck bait when the original arsonist retaliates because of the scale and extent of the explosive destruction. The fact that Selena calls herself a coward for not assisting Miles with his curse is largely a joke, at least until she actually musters the bravery to save him from the flames. The episode conveys the sense of urgency even though it is clear that none of the series regulars were going to perish. Serena Koo and Allison Hayslip play the arsonist couple, and their arrest is primarily portrayed in a comedic manner, with Koo's character entering the house and confessing. With a sequence that hardly touched viewers' emotions when they are imprisoned, The Rookie further minimized their eventual danger. But both women almost perish following the blast. Their door is blocked when Nolan and Angela Lopez liberate the prisoners while the fire is still burning. The majority of police procedures wouldn't bother to explain why cops would choose not to put themselves in danger to save two firebugs. The Rookie does, and the reason the episode is unique is because Nolan and Lopez decide to save them nevertheless. The show's street-level perspective emphasizes that the accused are still humans, even when it indulges in its worst impulses. Even if the arsonists are careless, dangerous, and guilty, the heroes' lives are more valuable than theirs. One of the main causes of ongoing conflict is the ongoing DA campaign. Burn for Love is directly related to another episode of The Rookie Season 7, in two ways as well, primarily for the introduction of Liam Glasser. Detective Nyla Harper is haunted by a statement from Till Death that also highlights The Rookie's uniqueness. She addresses the murderer she is unable to apprehend and exchanges a positive exchange of words. This line, however, discredits her as a trustworthy witness in a deposition given prior to his trial, compelling prosecutor Wesley Evers to report her. Evers and Lopez's greatest couple pals are Harper and her husband, James. The Rookie's last episode featured James assisting Wesley with his campaign speech. Wesley had to notify internal affairs about his wife in this episode. This isn't exploited as a story point to demonstrate how civil rights are the police's foes, in contrast to most cop shows. Despite being caught in the act and attempting to kill Harper, Nolan, Lopez, and Penn, Glasser's conviction isn't a given for a number of complicated, because this is a TV show reasons. This problem is made even worse by the way the case impacts Wesley's DA campaign. For punching out the distraught father of one of Glasser's victims who attacked him, the progressive candidate becomes the favorite of fake tough guys, including Joe Rogan, who is mentioned by name. The rookie lets love be dramatic while avoiding past mistakes with Chinford 2.0. It was not until the season 8 opener that Chinford reunited after their stunning breakup. The storytellers cannot return to a will they or won't they dynamic for the pair in order to defend this decision. In Wildfire, the two declared their love for one another after almost dying in a fire, a reference made by the characters at the end of this episode. In Burn for Love, Lucy has to save Tim after he almost dies in an explosion that destroys his new office as the watch commander. However, the heartwarming moment when she hands Tim her breather mask is not the only thing that makes Chinford supporters happy. The two worry over their Valentine's Day presents for the majority of the show. Tim's was trapped in the mail, while Lucy lost hers. As a child, Tough as Nails Bradford was a sci-fi nerd, which is the biggest revelation in The Rookie. Lucy locates an out-of-print cheeseball book and has the author autograph it. Even though her earrings match Lucy's necklace, Tim believes they are a terrible present. These perfect days aren't going to last since it's The Rookie, but for the time being, those who adore this connection have little to gripe about. Nolan and Bailey's struggles were simultaneously made softer and more intense by The Rookie. Bailey Noon and her army commander have been considering traveling to Washington, D.C. for a Pentagon assignment for the past 2 episodes. But Nolan isn't interested in leaving Los Angeles for any other reason than he doesn't want to be the oldest rookie ever again. It appeared as though the show was preparing to frame this as a significant, potentially disastrous marital dispute. Bailey instead gives in to his desires by bringing up her secret husband, Jason, who died in Till Death. Nolan has second thoughts after the police station fire and instructs Bailey to accept the position. A long-distance situation like this is manageable because of how luxurious the beat cop and firefighters' homes are in Los Angeles. Bailey might frequently return to Los Angeles if he worked a 9-to-5 job with weekends and government holidays off. By this development, a far more interesting source of tension is avoided rather than a major blow-up endangering their marriage. They will experience new relationship challenges that might be detrimental to the partnership but excellent for the plot as neither Nolan nor Bailey will be held accountable. The Rookie introduces a malevolent arsonist, putting our crew in danger. Miles and John Nolan, played by Nathan Fillion, are on duty when they spot a burning swan boat in the center of the lake. When Jenna Dewan's character Bailey Noon arrives, she reveals that it was an arson case. Here, too, Bailey mysteriously accepts a new position as an arson investigator and instructs the police on how to proceed with their inquiry. This is not only highly improbable, but it also makes these moments seem much more corny. When the police discover that a dry cleaner has been targeted, they come to the conclusion that the arson is based on a Swan Lake theme. Arnold McKenna is then named by the gang as a potential suspect, but he maintains that he has an alibi. The Mid-Wilshire crew discovers after some detective work that McKenna does, in fact, have a protégé named Mandy Fisk. In an attempt to flirt, Firebug Mandy and her girlfriend were lighting the fires together. Selena and Lucy Chen, Melissa O'Neill, nearly strike a man who bursts into their store in a furious outburst. We recognize him as McKenna as he leaves, and we see that he has planted an explosive beneath their car. They park in the station as usual, and then there's a huge explosion. Numerous police officers are hurt, and there is fire all over. Glasser's potential release is hinted to in The Rookie's Season 8 Episode 6. On The Rookie, we met one of the most eerie villains ever in the previous season. Although Liam Glasser, Seth Gable, is a seasoned serial murderer, it appears that he may soon be released from prison. Although Nyla must take a deposition for the case, Wesley Evers, Shawn Ashmore, cautions her right away that she will need to be flawless to defeat Glasser's formidable lawyer. Since Nyla's statements are ultimately misconstrued, it appears that she employed framing and intimidation strategies when pursuing Glasser during the preliminary investigation. Nyla seemed to have caused more harm than good by the end of the deposition. However, the worst thing is that Wesley acknowledges that he must now report Nyla for her dubious police practices. His wife, Angela Lopez, Alyssa Diaz, becomes enraged over this and tries to stand up for her friend. However, Wesley notes that Nyla's actions could cause him to lose at trial. One of Glasser's victims' parents attends a DA campaign rally for Wesley, upset that he isn't receiving justice for his child. He throws a dagger at Wesley, but Wesley swiftly disarms him, demonstrating that Wesley has learned a few things from Angela. Positively, Wesley's candidacy gains momentum as a video of his takedown goes viral. Not everyone should be celebrating just yet, though. Given that Glasser is one of the most vicious antagonists the Rookie has ever had, the possibility that he could walk is extremely frightening. Additionally, since Nyla was the one who got him locked up, he has a lot of grudges against her. Although I'm somewhat worried about her safety in the future, this is laying the groundwork for a fascinating plot that I can't wait to watch develop. This week's The Rookie episode features a ton of Valentine's Day shenanigans. This week, The Rookie also offers us a couple Valentine's Day tales for some additional humorous fodder. Chenford is stressed about what gifts to give each other in the primary narrative. Although Jenny, Peyton List, Tim's sister, tries to assist them both, I wasn't really sure why she was in this specific episode. In the end, despite many hardships, Chenford's gifts to one another are unique and keep the couple moving forward in a positive manner. We also witness certain changes in Selena's romantic life. After Raja's return from his tour, Selena unintentionally gives the TID agent, Jorge Diaz, from last week's episode the wrong signals. He believes Selena has asked him out, but when she tells him she has a boyfriend, he is quickly turned down, after attempting to kiss her. I was afraid that this guy could throw Raj out, but it appears that the Rookie is choosing to keep the romance continuing for the time being. In other good news, Bailey and Nolan reconcile at the end of the show following a heated argument. Bailey apologizes, declares that she is giving up on the DC concept, and declares that Nolan is her true love. However, Nolan assertively states that she should accept the position since he understands how much it would mean to her. The future is uncertain. Bailey chooses to remain in Los Angeles with Nolan since he means more to her than just a career. She wants to explain why to him. Bailey wants him to know she's content and that she doesn't have to leave her life with him. When she met him, Bailey stopped escaping. And that's lovely, even though Bailey took too long to get to this conclusion. But when Nolan begs Bailey to go, everything is turned upside down once more. Furthermore, we don't understand Nolan's choice in Burn for Love, the 6th episode of The Rookie Season 8. The person you love is more essential than anything else, therefore put them first. Without Bailey's return, this marriage is doomed. It is a fact. Regardless of what Nolan says, no marriage can endure a long-distance relationship indefinitely. A long time? Yes, indeed. Everlasting? No. It's doomed. And Bailey is going to be gone forever, not for a year, 2, or a few months. For this reason, she was going to completely upend their lives because Washington was permanent. Therefore, even though it takes some time for either of them to come to terms with it, Bailon's fate was sealed in Burn for Love, the 6th episode of The Rookie Season 8. To be honest, this plot surprise felt contrived. We would have wanted Bailey to continue being self-centered or, as Luna suggested, to give up her career for her marriage. That makes logical, but it doesn't exactly work when Bailey changes her mind and then Nolan gives up his life for her. What we said was what we said. There is a cost to giving in. The events between Wesley and Nyla in Burn for Love, episode 6 of The Rookie Season 8, shattered our hearts. This is really difficult. Although we would like to despise Wesley for his treatment of Nyla and his indirect interference with her friendship with Angela, we are unable to do so. Wesley took the necessary action. He performed his duties. When Nyla threatened that monster in that way, she allowed her feelings to control her. She was aware that he was the murderer and that the women he killed were innocent. Nyla made it plain to that monster that he would cover all costs, just as we would have all done if it had been her. The point is that this puts the case as a whole in danger. Additionally, Wesley is currently in a challenging and very visible role. Nyla is like family to him and Angela, so reporting her to internal affairs and jeopardizing her career feels like a betrayal, but he can't hide it and ignore it. The decision is unachievable. And wholly unjust.